In Effingham, Illinois this morning, an 8-hour standoff between a truck driver and the police there in Effingham, Illinois, ended with the truck driver unaliving himself. So how did we get to this point where the truck driver felt he had no choice but to take his own life? So the incident actually began in Michigan in Shelby Township on Thursday, March the 7th, when the police wound up receiving a 911 call from Bank of America around 10:36 on Thursday morning saying that their bank had just been robbed. Once the police arrived at the Bank of America there in Shelby Township in Michigan, they wound up talking to a few tellers who said that a black gentleman had entered the facilities there, went up to one of the tellers, handed her a note, demanded the money out of her drawer, and then took off with the money and fled the scene of the bank. Now, police and detectives began their search, and they began with the detectives going around and checking out surveillance footage from inside the bank, outside the bank, and all the businesses around. That's when they wound up discovering that the black gentleman who had gone into the Bank of America to rob it had actually left, went a few blocks down the road, got onto a motorized scooter, drove that motorized scooter a few blocks to where he'd brought it to a semi-truck. He then put the motorized scooter into the trailer of his truck, got into the cab of the semi, and took off. Now, the police were able to identify who they suspected was driving that truck and the scooter by the license plates. They were also able to find out what trucking company was associated with the truck that he was driving. So the police were able to track the semi-truck to a trucking company located in Effingham, Illinois. Now, the truck driver, whose name has not been released, was a 33-year-old male who was originally from Georgia, but he worked at a trucking company there in Effingham, Illinois. So the Michigan police wound up contacting Effingham police on Friday to let them know that they suspected that the truck driver was probably heading into the Effingham, Illinois area. So they asked the police if they could please canvass the area, check out the trucking company, and also check out all the surrounding truck stops in the area. That's when a police officer went to the TA there in Effingham, Illinois, and located the truck driver in question. The truck driver was inside the cab of his truck, and the police officer decided that he was going to disable the truck by pulling his brake lines. Now, when the truck driver saw that the police officer had disabled his semi-truck by pulling his brake lines, the truck driver did jump out of his truck. It was at that time the police officer tried to arrest the truck driver, but he resisted arrest, and the police officer had to use pepper spray on him. That's when the truck driver got back into his truck and barricaded himself inside of his semi-truck for an 8-hour standoff. The truck driver did have a gun in his possession. Over the next 8 hours, they wound up bringing in the SWAT team into Effingham, Illinois, and they tried to negotiate with him for over 8 hours. They even brought food to him and drinks, and they were trying to be in constant communication. Sometime during that standoff, they wound up losing communication with the truck driver, and he was no longer being responsive. That's when the SWAT team moved in, and that's when they discovered that the truck driver, who has not been identified yet, had unalived himself inside of his semi-truck. Now, Police Chief Robert Shield, who is from Shelby Township in Michigan, which is where the original bank robbery wound up taking place at the Bank of America, wound up releasing a statement to the media. He said, quote, "Make no mistake about it, if you come to Shelby Township to try to commit a crime, our department will track you down no matter where you try to hide." He went on to thank the Macomb County FBI, the Effingham Police Department, the Effingham County Sheriff's Department, and the Illinois State Police for the assistance in this case. If we wind up hearing any more information or get a name on who the truck driver was in this incident, we'll be sure to update you here on Trucking True Crime Podcast. And last but not least, I drove all day today. I drove 10.5 hours, but I wanted to thank all of my fans and followers who wound up letting me know about this case, because I didn't know about it because I was driving. But thank you so much for everybody who reached out to me and let me know, so that I had a couple hours when I got done driving so I could fully investigate this for you. And as always, please be sure to like, follow, and share, because I do this true crime podcast because I enjoy it and I like to keep you guys informed. It's not my full-time job. I am a truck driver. Thanks, everybody. Be safe out there.